Hi, my name is Dave. Today we're going to look at a magnificent Pentax 85 telescope. It's from the late 80s, I believe, around that time frame anyway. And it's a superb telescope. It's 1,000 millimeters focal length, so it's about f12, a little less than f12. And those of you who know refractors know that that is starting to begin to introduce a little bit of color. And one of the questions is the color objectionable in this telescope? The answer is no. It is superb. Those of you who've seen a 4-inch f10 realize that the color is fairly marginal. Chromatic aberration is marginal there. Not so bad. Well, this is almost as good as an f15. In terms of the color, I would say it's quite comparable to a 4-inch f15, which is very, very nice, as you know. So despite the fact that it's a shorter focal length, more compact telescope, has a bit more aperture than other scopes of 1,000 millimeter focal length. 1,000 millimeters typically would be in maybe a 60 millimeter telescope, something like that. Anyway, it's a beautiful telescope, and the fit, form, and function on this telescope are just superb, as you'll see. So let me show you some of the wonderful features on this scope and all the interesting details. Okay, let's take a closer look at this mount. You can see that it has setting circles here, and the setting circles, interestingly, can be adjusted, both the actual hour circle and the position of the vernier. Of course, on the declination, it's not the same at all. It's all locked up. It's all the same. Give you a sense of how it's a very smooth mount. This conceals something. This, by the way, is not original. It's something I adapted from a Celestron. Down here, you have a polar alignment scope, and you can see numbers there to calibrate it so you can figure out where the pole is. And of course, you can adjust the latitude here. And it's easy to rotate in like so. The eyepieces on this telescope are parfocal, which is wonderful. Absolutely one of the most superb attributes of a set of eyepieces. That's why I love my Teleview Plossels and my Zeiss 965 eyepieces. They're parfocal, so it's easy, very easy to interchange one to the other and go to a higher or lower power. It's a magnificent telescope. Let's turn it around here and give you a better look. Here's the interesting and unique star diagonal. I'll show it to you. The reason for all this is to mount the sunscreen on it. The optics in this telescope are superb. The finder, I would compare the finder with Takahashi. I think Takahashi has probably made the finest finders, maybe with the exception of Zeiss. Anyway, superb. This is an excellent finder. 6x30 that acts like a 9x50 or something. It's wonderful. Let me show you how you set this up for solar observing. First, you have to insert this guy here. Oh, actually, I better do it right. first you have to invert the eyepiece. They recommend using a 12.5 or 25 millimeter eyepiece. Then you're going to put this in like that. And this, of course, you're going to have to adjust the weight, perhaps. Lock it down. Deal with that. Okay, so now you're set up. You'll have a nice image of the sun right there. Let's have a look at the packing strategy on this telescope. There you have the OTA, and of course you could have lots of other stuff in here. The star diagonal is mounted on a post right here. Eyepieces over here, of course. There's the OTA. And in here we have the sunscreen. It's also mounted on a post. There. Here's the rod for the sunscreen. Right there. And of course you'd have various and sundry other items in there. I hope you've enjoyed having a look at this completely fantastic Pentax 85 telescope from the late 1980s. Thank you very much for watching.